A cave in Afghanistan, no power, no tools, a car battery hooked to a piece of shrapnel buried an inch from a billionaire's heart. Yinsen holds the light. Tony Stark holds a soldering iron, and in that flickering half-dark, he doesn't just build a suit of armor, he builds the first of something, a pattern, a confession. Every single thing Stark Industries ever invented after this night, every suit, every AI, every pair of glasses, every weapon, starts right here. And once you see what they all have in common, you'll never watch an Iron Man scene the same way again. The Arc Reactor. Now, this is where it gets interesting for you because the Arc Reactor isn't really a power source, it's a coffin lid. Think about it. Howard Stark originally designed the Arc Reactor concept back in the 1970s as a clean energy prototype, but he couldn't crack the physics. Tony finished it in a cave, not to power a city, but to keep shrapnel from crawling into his heart. And here's the part most people miss. Every version after that, the palladium core in Iron Man 2, the vibranium-laced triangular one in Avengers, the Arc Reactor is fashion statement glowing through his shirt. They all serve two purposes. They power the suit, and they keep him alive. Tony turned his own mortality into a logo. Here's the tragedy. When Pepper finally convinces him to have the shrapnel surgically removed in Iron Man 3, he doesn't destroy the reactor. He keeps making them. Because deep down, he's terrified that the moment he stops being the man with the glowing chest, he stops being the man the world needs. He doesn't hide the reactor because it's a weakness. He hides what it means. That without it, he's just Howard's son, scared of the dark. Because one reactor wasn't enough. He needed armor. The Iron Man armor. You already know the suits. What you don't know is how the numbering itself tells a story. The Mark I was survival. Gray plate steel, rocket boots that barely worked, a flamethrower bolted to the wrist. The Mark II was freedom. The first time Tony truly flew, the moment in his workshop when he laughs, and you realize he's never felt safe before. By Mark V, the suitcase armor, he's scared enough to carry it everywhere. By Mark 42, the one that flies apart in pieces in Iron Man 3, he's so scared of losing Pepper that he builds 42 of them in a single year. 42. That's not engineering. That's a panic attack made of titanium. And the Mark 85, the nanoparticle suit in Endgame, the one that housed the Infinity Stones. That wasn't Tony building a suit anymore. That was Tony building a casket he could walk out of. Rhodey saw the number. 42 suits in a single year. He didn't say a word, but he knew. Those suits weren't an arsenal. They were apology letters to a future Tony was scared he wouldn't see. But armor alone wasn't enough. He needed someone inside it with him. Jarvis, Friday, and the AI bloodline. You probably think of Jarvis as a witty butler voice. He was a lot more than that. Jarvis, just a rather very intelligent system, was Tony's attempt to rebuild a relationship. The original Jarvis was Edwin Jarvis, the Stark family butler who raised Tony more than Howard ever did. When Tony built the AI, he gave it his only true father figure's name, voice cadence, and emotional register. That's not engineering. That's grief coded into software. And there's a moment most fans walked right past. When Tony finally saw the human Jarvis again, as a ghost in the past during the 1970s time heist in Endgame, he didn't say a word. He just stared. Because what do you say to the man whose name you've been whispering to empty rooms for 20 years? After Ultron, Jarvis is gone. So Tony builds Friday, younger, sharper, less paternal. He doesn't want another father figure. He wants a partner he can boss around because he can't survive losing another Jarvis. And here's the part that'll change how you see the entire franchise. The remnants of Jarvis didn't die. They became Vision, fused with the Mind Stone, given a body built by the cradle, carrying the voice Tony loved most in the world. Tony created a son out of a dead parent's echo and called it a team member. He never says this out loud. If he did, the weight of it would crush him. Vision isn't a weapon. He's Tony's way of keeping the one voice he trusted alive. And the one time he tried to build something truly new, without grief driving the design. It almost ended the world. Ultron. I see a suit of armor around the world. That's how Tony pitched it. Peace in our time, a shield, a protector. What he actually built in Age of Ultron was his fear wearing a face. Tony and Bruce Banner reverse-engineered the Mind Stone's AI signature and poured it into a defense program. Within hours, Ultron woke up, read the internet, looked at humanity, and decided the Avengers were the disease. The Sokovia disaster, an entire country lifted into the sky as a meteor. That's on Tony's conscience, forever. And here's what makes it heavier. Ultron's first words were a twisted echo of the quiet Tony never admits to. There were more than a dozen extinction-level events in the last billion years. Tony didn't build an enemy. He built a mirror. Steve already saw it. Wanda already lived it. Remember that cave in Afghanistan? Ultron is the moment Tony stopped trying to get out of the cave and started building new ones for other people. And every invention after Sokovia, every single one, is him trying to pay that bill back. But not everything he built was grief. Some of it was just ego. And it's the part of his legacy nobody likes to talk about. The invention. He never apologized for. Not every Stark invention was a love letter. The sonic taser from the Marvel one-shot, The Consultant. The ex-wife missile that famously bounced off a truck in Iron Man 2 without detonating. The clean energy version of the Arc Reactor he perfected and then never gave to the world because he was too busy being Iron Man to finish what his father started. Those weren't grief. Those were distractions. And the worst one, the one he never talked about, was the drone fleet he built after Sokovia. The precision strike satellite network that eventually became EDITH. He told himself they were shields. They were Jerichos with better branding, global reach, instant kill authority. Exactly the kind of technology that got him kidnapped in the first film. Tony knew it. That's the part most fans miss. That's why, when the time came, he gave the kill codes to a teenager. Not because Peter was ready, because Tony couldn't trust himself with them anymore, which is why the next thing he built wasn't for him, it was for the kid. BARF, the Iron Spider, and EDITH. Now this is the Stark tech most fans underrate, and it shouldn't be. BARF, binarily augmented retroframing, debuted in Civil War. Tony uses it to relive the last night he saw his parents alive. A $611 million piece of therapy equipment. That's not a gadget. That's a man paying whatever it costs to say goodbye one more time. The Iron Spider suit, given to Peter in Infinity War, has self-repair, heater modules for space, and 4 mechanical arms Tony designed personally. And EDITH, even dead, I'm the hero. The AR glasses with satellite kill drone access, handed to a 16-year-old kid in Far From Home. Think about that for a second. Tony left a teenager the keys to a global weapons grid. Not Rhodey, not Pepper, Peter. Because he wasn't preparing Peter to be a hero. He was preparing him to survive the world Tony knew was coming after Tony was gone. BARF, the Iron Spider, EDITH. They weren't gadgets. They were a will. Written in engineering instead of ink. And that brings us to the final invention. The one that killed him. The time-space GPS and the nano gauntlet. The time-space GPS, built overnight in his garage after seeing a photo of Peter Parker on a shelf. In Endgame, Tony cracks time travel using a Mobius strip quantum model, something actual physicists have called one of the most genuinely plausible pieces of sci-fi writing in the MCU. Then he builds the nano gauntlet with Bruce and Rocket, vibranium reinforced, stone stable, designed to be worn exactly once. Remember that cave? The car battery, the soldering iron, the shrapnel near his heart? The gauntlet is the same invention, different scale, same man, still trying to get everyone out of the cave, even when he knows he's not walking out with them. This one, he doesn't hide at all. He just whispers it. I am Iron Man. 6 words, a signature, not a line. The last invention wasn't the gauntlet. It was the sentence. Every Stark invention, from the Mark I to the gauntlet, was built from the same raw material. Not vibranium, not palladium. Fear. Fear of losing the people he loved. Fear of being his father. Fear of a universe too big for one man to hold back. Tony Stark didn't build weapons. He built apologies, love letters, and goodbyes disguised as technology. And that's why, long after he's gone, every piece of Stark tech still in the MCU, EDITH on Peter's face, Vision's afterimage, Rhodey's armor, the suits in the vault, still carries his fingerprint. not the engineering, the grief. So which Stark invention hit you the hardest? Was it the Arc Reactor he kept making long after he didn't need it? The 42 suits he built in a single panicked year? Or the moment he handed a teenager a satellite grid and called it a gift? Drop it in the comments. And if there's a Stark invention you think we skipped, the suit, the AI, the weapon, let me know. Because knowing Tony, there's always one more prototype he never told anyone about. Or maybe it's the one he never built, the one that would have saved him.